Today, guys, we got our hands on the brand new M12 Fuel Milwaukee subcompact impacts. And I've got to say, these are probably the best drop for Milwaukee in the M12 platform for the automotive trade since the original M12 Gen 1 stubby impacts. Today, we're going to put them through their paces and see if they're worth your hard-earned cash. Now to start off, a size comparison. A lot of people, when we first showed these on the YouTube channel, on TikTok, on Instagram, were confused by the power and the size of these since they are rated at 225 foot-pounds breakaway in the 3/8 and 100 foot-pounds in the quarter-inch drive version. A lot of people were scratching their heads because of the stubby having 550 foot-pounds in the current Gen 2 and 250 foot-pounds of breakaway in the original Gen 1 of the stubby. Well, the big difference here is not overall power, it's size and compactness, hence the name subcompact versus stubby Gen 1 and Gen 2 back here. Now, overall size comparison, they are much smaller, as you can see from the front-on view with the Gen 1 and then the front-on view with the Gen 2 stubby. These are far smaller impacts. We can even see in the front to back, even though there's a boot on, we are a little bit shorter from the front to the back with the Gen 2, and I believe with the Gen 1 as well. Now, I do have boots ordered for these. They're not available yet. Got them at acmetools.com, but we'll have those here very shortly. That's why these look a little bit different. These are the Milwaukee protective boots for these impacts. I normally put one on my impact as soon as I get it, just to keep from getting all rashed up. Now, again, these are not all-around powerhouses, but for the size, 225 foot-pounds breakaway, and a gun this small compared to the Gen 1 and Gen 2 is a phenomenal feat with Milwaukee's new motor technology that are in both of these impacts. Now, some of you might be asking, why is the quarter-inch only 100 foot-pounds compared to the 225 on 3/8 when they're basically the same footprint all the way around and the same gun, except for the drive on the front? Well, it's quarter-inch drive, guys. You go over 100 foot-pounds of quarter-inch drive, you're going to start snapping sockets, you're going to start snapping fasteners, you're going to start snapping the anvil. 100 foot-pounds of breakaway on a quarter is likely too much. So be careful in speed number 3 or power mode 3 with this tool, because it's very easy to get yourself into trouble with that kind of power on a quarter-inch drive and the range of quarter-inch drive socketry items. Now, the 3/8 I think is going to be absolutely phenomenal at 225 foot-pounds. It will take lug nuts off. It's not designed to be a tire gun, but the fact that a gun this small that basically fits in the palm of my hand can take lug nuts off compared to just what we had 10, 20 years ago as far as cordless tool technology just shows how far we have advanced in the form of cordless tools, especially for the automotive sector, specifically here in this example. Now, before we get into some actual real-world testing of these impacts and see what they can do and where they can fit compared to the stubbies, let's go through the boring stuff that some of you might care about, some of you might not care about. So first off, as far as the part numbers go, the 3/8 version is the 3049 and the quarter-inch is the 3048. Now, for those of you wondering about price tag, I believe they're between $219, $229 bare tool for these, and they're available, I think, everywhere right now. They were on pre-order for a while, but I think they're shipping right now from both Acme Tools and Home Depot. So on to the boring stuff. For those of you that are interested in that kind of stuff, the specifications, we'll run through that really quickly. Now, as far as overall weight, dimensions, etc., they're basically identical aside for the drive size. There's a little bit difference in their speed and their impacts per minute. We'll run through that very quickly. So again, 225, 100 foot-pounds breakaway between the two guns. On the quarter-inch drive, you're looking at RPM of 1,500, 2,900, 3,800 in speeds 1, 2, 3, and 4, respectively. And impacts per minute, you're looking at 1,350, 3,700, and 4,400. In the 3/8, you're looking at speeds of 15 or 1,150, 2,400, 3,400, speeds 1, 2, 3, and 4. And impacts per minute, you're looking at 1,000, 3,400, and 3,600 in those same speeds. Weight's the same, basically, well, 1.5 pounds tool only, 1.6 pounds tool only. And again, right at 2 pounds or 1.9 pound with that CP 2.5 HO battery installed. Now that the specs are out of the way, now I've looked at this as comparison with the stubbies, let's go out and actually take some fasteners free to see what these guns are actually capable of. So both impacts right now have a fully charged CP 2.5 HO M12 battery on them. We've got a 22mm socket here because in the last Instagram reel, TikTok, YouTube shorts I did about this gun, a lot of people were asking, could it remove a 22mm crank bolt from a Subaru? So let's find out. We are on power mode 3, as you see right there. And how far we have come in power tool technology, just insane. It took it off of there that easily. And again, a tool that small, basically the size of a Subaru alternator. So real quick, for the naysayers that might think that this was staged or something like that, 178 Newton meters, 131 foot-pounds. That is the factory torque spec for this crank bolt. I'll go ahead and put it back to spec. Right there, actually went a little over. No cuts, no trickery, and once again, took it right out of there with not even any hesitation. Just like butter. So we know the 3/8 is very potent, but what about the 1/4 inch that's down 125 foot-pounds breakaway? So let's load it up with a 14mm socket here and see what we can do down here on this tensioner bolt. Pulled it right out, no problem, on the little 1/4 inch with only 100 foot-pounds. Now, I'm normally not one for destruction, but we got the 1/4 inch and a 10mm on there, and we're gonna see what this, I believe 70 foot-pounds in tightening compared to 100 breakaway can do if you're not careful, you know, with your power. You can snap off bolts very quickly, very easily, especially stuff in the 1/4 inch drive size. As you saw, that 10 or M6x1 didn't stand a chance against this gun. Now, as mentioned before, these guns were not made by Milwaukee to be a better mousetrap or more or less a stronger mousetrap. More, it was meant to get you closer to the mouse or the cheese in this comparison. Getting you to these tight, compact areas in modern vehicles where you can get those impacts in, get around to the work, and maneuver around more confined spaces. Because, as we all know, they're not making anything any easier to get to under the hood of cars, and they're just packing more and more stuff inside the engine bays. Now, one last request I saw from a lot of people after the video I did yesterday, or the short, taking off lug nuts on the Subaru, which of course are 120 Newton meters, like 85 foot-pounds, did it no problem. We wanted to see it on a little bit bigger lug nut, so let's see what it'll do on my 2018 Silverado 3500 HD real quick. So again, 22mm, these are supposed to be, I believe, 140 foot-pounds, maybe 160, but let's see what it'll do. Let me get a better grip on her. So not quite budging that. I think if we had a deep well rather than a shallow 22, it would do it pretty easily. We need a little bit more mass up here to hammer against, but we'll give it another 10 seconds. I don't want to tear up my lug nut, but let's see what it'll do. And look at there, it took it off. Just took it a little extra time. And there is some rust and corrosion. It's been over a year, I think, since these wheels have been off of here when I got my tires put on. Probably a little bit longer than that. I think it was March of 2024. And here we are in September of 25. So, yeah, it will take a lug off of a 1-ton truck. Just takes a little bit of time with a shallow socket. Like I said, with a deep well, probably take it off a little bit quicker. So guys, there you have it. A little bit more in-depth look at the new subcompact M12 fuel impacts. I think they're going to be a great addition to anyone's setup, especially for the professional technician, all the way down to the DIYer. Now, again, prices are, I believe, $229 bare tool on these. They have, I believe, started coming off pre-order and shipping now at acmetools.com. I'll have some links somewhere for you to pick up your own if you're interested. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for future tool and Subaru videos. I'll see you guys in the next one.